So now we are working on the lighting with Sumerian. Again, I am bypassing this video, watching this video with you guys. I'm just going to kind of get to the point of what he's talking about. I highly recommend you reading, and I'm going through the tutorials. So I'm in the Sumerian console, and I'm going to show you what I did. I'm going to show you a few things before we get started. The first thing is when I was doing this earlier, I could not see these little balls, and you'll see later on these little balls are the light sources, but I could not see them, and it was very frustrating because it's like I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And I noticed that I was still in play mode, like I hit play for something on a previous video, and I was still in play mode. And that's why I couldn't see the little balls of light, because in play mode, you don't necessarily see everything, like all the behind the scenes stuff. So when I realized that's what I was doing and I hit stop and not be in play mode, balls of light. So that's one thing I wanted to point out first. The second thing I wanted to point out, I am going to, I don't know exactly know when these videos were made. They're very good videos. I highly recommend watching them. I learn a lot from them. But platforms change, tech changes, and all that's fun stuff that happens. And then you're looking at tutorial videos and it's like, that doesn't match. And this is one of those times. So when he's watching, when you get to this point in this video of 51 seconds and he started talking about the default lights, and the default lights, unless there's something that I'm missing, and as far as I know there's not, there's 3 different default lights. And in today's world, when you look at default lights, there's only the key and the rim light. So I think it was it directional? Oh, was it? Which one? There was key and rim, and then fill. Okay, that's the one I'm missing. And this is in today's world on the console. Just be aware of that. If you don't see everything that he's talking about in the video, it's not you, it's them. They made some updates to the console, unless I'm just completely missing something. As far as I know, I'm not. So what we're going to do is see these little 2 balls of light. And so when I click on the key, it takes me to this particular ball of light. And the directional is what it says. It's a directional light. So if I click on that, this part, let me move this around a little bit so you can see it from a different perspective. Okay. When you move it to the side by side, it doesn't really do a whole lot. Okay. Because it still have a directional, it doesn't really do a whole lot to change. Now, when you get to the rotating, that does cause a change. So I'm going to click on this rotating here. And I'm not very good at doing this on this. That's not what I wanted to do. See, I told you not very good at it. Okay. Nope, not what I wanted to do either. I'm just going to do it manually up here. So I'm going to change this right now. It's -9. Let's make that a +9. So it goes up a little bit. So let's make it a +19. It goes up some more. Let's make it a +109. It goes up some more. And I don't know how well you can tell, but the light changes. Like, it's not quite as illuminated down there. And let's see if I go back to the original -9. There's a little bit more illumination. Let's try to do the y-axis. So let's do that as a negative. -120. So the light changes, and let's make this that. We can change the intensity of it. It's not really doing a whole lot. We can change the color. Okay, so you can see how the light source is affecting. What I did was click on this ball, and now I'm just using my mouse to move it around. Not very good at the whole directional light thing and then navigating it. But you can see how the different illumination, like, that's more orange, because my light is orange right now. So you can see a lot more of the difference of it. The intensity of it is low intensity. It's more green, which is the color of the ground. to now it's high intensity. And the specular, I'm not really sure what that means. And right now it's a directional light. So you can change it to whatever color you want. Blue, black, or dark. Yeah, okay. White, yeah. And you can change the light color being whatever you want. And whenever you move it, that white light or whatever color light you have, it shines on the object and changes the illumination on the object. Okay, so that is the directional light. Now, I want to hide this by clicking on this eyeball so you don't see it anymore. Well, you still see it here, but you don't see the effects of it. So now I want to click on the rim directional light. And it has more, it's another directional light that you can play with. The lighting thing is still something I'm not wholly comfortable with. And that video does go in more details of it. And for this purposes, right now we're just kind of experimenting and playing with it and seeing what it does. Again, you can change the intensity of it. So it's a lot more whiter because it's a white light. If I change that to, say, orange again, it's green and orange make yellow, I guess. So more of a yellowish color. So, yeah. And that's funny. So my table, as you remember, is yellow. And when I make this blue, my table is now like the fuchsia color. That's cool. Let's see what happens if I change this. Let's see. So right now it's on directional. Let's change it to point. Okay. So I think this is where things may have changed a little bit in regards to the video. Like I said, there's those. He didn't really, I don't think he actually went into changing it here. Maybe he did and I didn't pay attention. But there's different ways that you can change the lighting source, then the type of light. So you can see whenever there's a spotlight, it looks like a spotlight. And things that come with that. Let's see. Well, you can change the cone angle, so that's neat. And change the range. Okay. And let's see what happens with point. So I think he described this one as almost like a light bulb. Okay. I think that's how he described it. So I'm just trying to navigate around here a little bit. Maybe this. So I got to change this back to the directional thing and move it here. And no, not that. No. Yeah, that one. And then I click on this rotate one, and then I can rotate it again. So right now I'm just trying to get my bearings on this, where everything's at. And honestly, for sometimes this is like one of the more frustrating parts of it is to get your bearings. Okay. But it does come with practice, just like anything and everything else. Okay. And he mentioned also like this whole circumference sphere thing. I think he said that's as indicates how far the reach goes for the light. I think that's what he said. But for the purpose of this was just to experiment and see the light sources and the default lights and how you can make some edits to it. So that's it for this video. Again, recommend going through here. And just, as a reminder for everything that we do, if something doesn't look the same, don't assume that it's you. Sometimes it just platform changes and the tutorials haven't been updated. And that's just kind of the nature of the beast in this particular field. So don't despair if you see something that doesn't look right. Just means you have to do a little bit more research.